You know, the moon is a very insignificant part of my domain now. There is so much more.
The 1990s produced fantasy films that critics savaged and audiences ignored.
You take me, you leave them alone.
No. There is no escape.
Leading to devastating box office failures and career damage for their creators.
Mais à quoi est-ce que tu penses? C'est quoi, je crois que c'est deux!
Time has vindicated these commercial disasters, revealing them as misunderstood masterpieces that were simply ahead of their time. These 10 films transformed from critical punching bags into beloved cult classics.
It creates an artificial black hole, which allows the ship to travel to any point in space.
A black hole, the most...
10. Tank Girl, 1995. Rachel Talalay's punk rock adaptation of the underground comic earned only $4 million against its $25 million budget. Critics dismissed it as incomprehensible chaos, while audiences found the anarchic energy alienating and confusing during its theatrical release.
Marvelous, isn't it?
Lori Petty's performance as the titular anti-heroine combined action-heroine swagger with genuine punk attitude that mainstream audiences weren't ready to embrace. The film's feminist themes, anti-corporate messaging, and refusal to soften its edges for mass appeal created commercial disaster. The movie's visual style, mixing live action with animation sequences, confused traditional genre expectations. Malcolm McDowell's villainous water baron and Ice-T's mutant kangaroo warrior added to the film's deliberately weird aesthetic that violated commercial filmmaking conventions. Home video and cable television transformed Tank Girl into a cult classic as audiences discovered its subversive humor and feminist empowerment themes. The film's influence on later punk aesthetic cinema and its status as LGBTQ+ icon proves that commercial failure often indicates artistic innovation that mainstream culture needs time to appreciate and understand. 9. The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, 1988. Terry Gilliam's fantastical epic earned only $8.1 million against its troubled $46.6 million budget, becoming one of the decade's most notorious financial disasters. The production's legendary problems, including budget overruns and studio interference, overshadowed the film's remarkable visual imagination. John Neville's Baron leads audiences through impossible adventures combining practical effects with theatrical spectacle. The film's episodic structure and dreamlike logic confused audiences expecting conventional narrative progression and clear hero's journey storytelling. Columbia Pictures actively undermined the film's release through minimal marketing and limited distribution, virtually guaranteeing commercial failure. The studio's lack of faith in Gilliam's vision created self-fulfilling prophecy of box office disappointment. Critical reevaluation has revealed Gilliam's masterpiece of imaginative cinema that celebrates storytelling itself as the ultimate human adventure.
I miss this stuff.
The film's themes about truth, imagination, and the power of narrative resonate more strongly today than during its initial release. The movie's influence on fantasy filmmaking and its reputation as Gilliam's most purely fantastical work
I am, alas, unable to offer you so splendid a gift.
demonstrate how initial commercial failure cannot diminish genuine artistic achievement and creative vision. 8. Dark City, 1998. Alex Proyas's noir science fiction masterpiece earned only $27.2 million against its $27 million budget, barely breaking even while critics remained confused by its complex themes and dark atmosphere. The film's philosophical depth and visual innovation failed to connect with mainstream audiences. Rufus Sewell's amnesiac protagonist discovers his entire city is an experiment conducted by alien beings who manipulate reality and memory. The film's exploration of identity, free will, and constructed reality anticipated The Matrix by 1 year, but lacked that film's accessible action framework.
What has the doctor to say about this?
He has failed to report in.
And Mr. Quick? No more Mr. Quick.
The movie's production design created one of cinema's most distinctive dystopian environments through practical sets and atmospheric lighting. The noir aesthetic, combined with science fiction concepts, created unique visual language that influenced countless later films. Proyas's direction emphasized philosophical questions over action sequences, creating cerebral science fiction that mainstream audiences found too demanding. The film's metaphysical themes about consciousness and reality required patient engagement that theatrical audiences wouldn't provide. Home video discovery and critical reevaluation established Dark City as an underappreciated masterpiece of science fiction cinema. The film's influence on The Matrix and other reality-questioning narratives proves its lasting importance despite initial commercial rejection. 7. Dragonheart, 1996. Rob Cohen's Dragon Fantasy earned $115 million worldwide but was considered a disappointment against its $57 million budget and marketing costs. Critics dismissed it as derivative medieval fantasy, while audiences found the premise unconvincing, despite groundbreaking CGI dragon effects. Dennis Quaid's disillusioned knight and Sean Connery's voice performance as the last dragon created an unlikely buddy dynamic. The film's themes about honor, redemption, and sacrifice provided emotional weight that critics initially overlooked while focusing on technical aspects. The movie's dragon effects, created by Industrial Light and Magic, represented cutting-edge CGI technology that seamlessly integrated digital character with live-action footage. Draco became cinema's first fully convincing digital lead character through performance capture and sophisticated animation. The film's sincere approach to fantasy storytelling felt outdated in the cynical 1990s climate. Audiences weaned on ironic distance and postmodern sensibility didn't appreciate the straightforward heroic narrative and earnest emotional appeals. 6. The Craft, 1996. Andrew Fleming's supernatural thriller about teenage witches earned $55 million against its $15 million budget, but critics dismissed it as shallow teen horror exploitation. The film's exploration of female power and outsider status was initially undervalued by reviewers focusing on genre elements. Neve Campbell, Fairuza Balk, Rachel True, and Robin Tunney created memorable ensemble as young witches discovering their powers while navigating high school social hierarchies. The film's themes about female friendship, power dynamics, and teenage alienation resonated with young audiences despite critical dismissal. The movie's depiction of Wicca and witchcraft created controversy among religious groups, while its gothic aesthetic influenced an entire generation of fashion and music. The film became a cultural touchstone for disaffected teenage girls seeking empowerment narratives. Critics initially focused on the film's genre elements while missing its sophisticated commentary on female power, social conformity, and the consequences of unchecked ambition. The movie's exploration of toxic friendship dynamics and abuse of power feels remarkably mature. 5. Army of Darkness, 1992. Sam Raimi's horror comedy sequel earned only $21.5 million domestically against its $11 million budget, disappointing studio expectations after Evil Dead 2's cult success. Critics found the medieval setting too broad, while horror fans missed the first film's genuine scares. Bruce Campbell's Ash Williams brought his chainsaw-handed hero to medieval times in this time travel adventure, combining horror with slapstick comedy. The film's deliberately campy tone and comic book sensibility alienated audiences expecting straightforward horror sequel. The movie's ambitious scope, including elaborate battle sequences and stop-motion effects, created a unique blend of genres that defied easy categorization. Raimi's kinetic direction and Campbell's physical comedy created entertainment that critics couldn't properly classify. Studio interference led to multiple cuts and different endings, confusing the film's intended audience and undermining its commercial prospects. The theatrical version represented compromise that satisfied neither studio nor director's vision. 4. Waterworld, 1995. Kevin Costner's post-apocalyptic ocean epic earned $264 million worldwide, but was considered a catastrophic failure against its unprecedented $175 million budget. The production's legendary problems and media focus on budget overruns overshadowed the film's genuine achievements. The movie presents a drowned Earth where survivors live on ramshackle floating communities while searching for mythical dry land. Costner's mariner possesses gills and webbed feet, representing human adaptation to aquatic environment through practical mutation rather than fantasy magic. The film's practical effects, including elaborate water stunts and full-scale floating sets, created convincing post-flood world through physical craftsmanship. The decision to shoot on water rather than use studio tanks created authentic maritime atmosphere, but caused production delays. Critics focused on budget problems rather than evaluating the film's actual merits as ambitious science fiction adventure. The media narrative about production troubles created negative perception that undermined audience reception despite the film's entertainment value. 3. Event Horizon, 1997. Paul W.S. Anderson's space horror earned only $47 million against its $60 million budget, while critics dismissed it as derivative alien knockoff. The film's graphic violence and disturbing imagery alienated mainstream audiences while its philosophical themes went largely unnoticed. Lawrence Fishburne and Sam Neill lead the crew investigating a missing spaceship that traveled to another dimension and returned haunted by malevolent force.
Bella! Bella, can you hear me? We have to get out of here, now!
The film's combination of science fiction with supernatural horror created unique genre hybrid. The movie's exploration of hell as psychological rather than religious concept provided sophisticated framework for horror sequences. Anderson's direction emphasized practical gore effects and atmospheric dread over CGI spectacle, creating visceral horror experience. 2. The Iron Giant, 1999. Brad Bird's animated masterpiece earned only $31.3 million against its $70 million budget, becoming one of animation's most devastating commercial failures. Warner Brothers provided virtually no marketing support, ensuring the film's box office disaster despite universal critical acclaim. The story follows young Hogarth discovering a giant robot from space during the Cold War's peak paranoia. The film's themes about peace, friendship, and choosing your own identity created emotional depth rarely seen in animated features. Bird's direction emphasized character development and emotional truth over spectacle.
Come on, the corner. Come on, pick up the pace here. Okay? I've never seen anything like it. It's like a big chomp out of the side of the car.
Creating genuinely moving exploration of sacrifice and heroism. The giant's journey from weapon to protector provided powerful anti-violence message during an era of action movie dominance. The film's traditional animation combined with CGI robot created seamless visual blend that represented technical achievement. The artistic choices prioritized storytelling and character expression over flashy effects work. 1. The Nightmare Before Christmas, 1993. Tim Burton and Henry Selick's stop-motion musical earned $75 million initially against its $18 million budget, but was considered disappointing for Disney's holiday release. The studio struggled to market the film's unique tone and visual style to mainstream audiences. Jack Skellington's journey from Halloween Town to Christmas Town created unique holiday fantasy, combining gothic imagery with musical storytelling. The film's stop-motion animation required years of painstaking frame-by-frame work, creating distinctive visual style. Disney's Touchstone Pictures released the film rather than the main studio brand, indicating corporate uncertainty about the property's commercial viability. The marketing emphasized Burton's name while downplaying the musical elements that made the film special. The movie's dark aesthetic and unconventional holiday themes confused audiences expecting traditional Disney fairy tale entertainment. The gothic horror elements seemed inappropriate for family audiences during the holiday season. These 90s fantasy disasters prove that commercial failure doesn't determine artistic value. Each film found devoted audiences who recognized their innovative vision and lasting worth. Which misunderstood masterpiece became your cult favorite? Subscribe for more vindicated cinema gems.